liar, faker, fraud. That's what some people have been saying about Markiplier after it was recently theorized that he might have cheated on a FNAF video uploaded more than a decade ago. The video that exposes cheating was uploaded by the Bones 5, and it's on track to reach more than 1 million views in its first week of existence. By the time this video goes up, the view count will undeniably be more. I'm going to link the Bones video down in the description in case you want to check it out for a full breakdown. What I'm going to give you is a brief summary of the controversy because I really don't know the intricacies of FNAF game design. Long story short, he realized that because none of the toy animatronics were ever seen during the end of his winning run, and because the clip of his win never included any sound cues from either Balloon Boy or Mangle, the chances of this happening were extremely low. At best case, a 13 in 4,096 chance. At a more realistic case, 1 in 16,384. To make matters even worse, other clips from in the video also had some unrealistic odds, with one clip having a best case scenario probability of 1 in 240 million. With odds that high, you're more likely to flip heads on a coin 27 times in a row, no tails anywhere in the run. In other words, near enough impossible. On top of that, Bones exposed subtle editing incontinuities such as hair strands changing that really did hit home the fact that the footage had been tampered with. Now, when it comes to this controversy, I'll be honest, some people have made little jokes about it, but it's not really that deep. First of all, Bones himself told people that this does not condone harassment. Second of all, this is a piece of drama from more than a decade ago by this point that doesn't really impact anything. It's not like when Dream faked his speedruns, considering that there's no leaderboard for beating FNAF 2 on a hard difficulty. And thirdly, this is definitely preferential treatment, but when it comes to Markiplier, after everything that he's given YouTube, the creator economy, his fans, charities, after all of that, I'm sorry, but how could I be mad at him for something as petty as this? If it came out that he had committed a serious crime, then of course my opinion would change, but he faked a video 11 years ago. There's levels to this. If this is the biggest skeleton in his closet, this man is a saint. I'm not gonna jump on someone for faking their content 11 years ago if they generally have a track record for being a good, decent human being, which these days seems like quite a rarity for creators. The only critique I'll give are to his glazers that in the past have been known to hate on people for bringing up this claim, because in all likelihood, it does seem as though Mark did cheat. But I'm sorry, if you are genuinely pressed that Markiplier faked a video more than 4,000 days ago, right, you have to touch grass. I don't think it's a huge deal, especially when there are quite literally no stakes involved. But Markiplier is just one example of a FNAF creator that got exposed. Ladies and gentlemen, believe you me, we have much worse still yet to come. Now, in case you're new to the channel, this is not the first time that I've spoken about exposed FNAF creators. I actually did it in a very recent video. But for context, you don't need to see the unofficial part 1 to this video before you see this one. All of the stories in this video will stand alone, even if I might make slight references to the previous episode. That said, I'll leave it linked down in the description in case you want to check it out before or after you watch this. With that said, let's rock on with the creator that we also discussed in part 1, that being Battington. If you've seen part 1 of this video, you'll know that in that, I spoke about a content creator called Battington, who came under hot water a couple of years back for spreading a rumour about the death of Martin Walls, the man behind the Walton files. But as I was made aware of by you guys in the comment section, that wasn't his only controversy in the past few years. Let's take a look at a gargantuan blunder that this creator made that was 3 years in the making. This story begins back in 2021, when Battington uploaded a video titled Happy New Friends. This video has since been deleted for reasons that we'll get into in just a moment, but reactions to it that were uploaded at the time are still up, so we can see exactly what this video contained. The main source of controversy came when Battington decided to include images of children with distorted faces. Now, the intention here was to scare his audience. He included these images alongside some found footage style audio. I'll show 2 of these 3 images as an example, because to the best of my knowledge, neither of these 2 were ever complained about. But a problem arose when he included a picture of Linda Ann O'Keefe. Back in July 1973, Linda Ann O'Keefe, who was 11 at the time, was tragically assaulted and murdered. Battington had included her image in this video, and people didn't realize at first. But in 2024, a now deleted call-out post on Twitter revealed this information to the world, leading to immense scrutiny come Battington's way. Battington would respond to the situation on Twitter, clarifying that he had no idea and that he was going to take the video down. The thing is, I can see a world where this is a genuine mistake. Apparently he just Googled children in the 1980s. But this is a big one to make, much bigger than the fake death hoax. As someone pointed out in the replies, moving forward, going to a website called thispersondoesn'texist.com is a good idea because the people on there quite literally don't exist. That said, I don't know for certain if it was around when this video was made. Regardless, given that she was a real child victim of something absolutely atrocious, people upon learning this fact felt it to be extremely disrespectful to her memory. Having looked into a post on r/YouTube drama about the situation, I found this comment by an analog horror mod that read they wanted to express how it isn't just this YouTuber. It's a lot of inexperienced and immature creators making some of the most low effort shit you've ever watched. It's almost always FNAF inspired or inspired by one of those made for kids video games. This is one of many young creators who legitimately believes that there's nothing wrong with showing pictures of missing kids/crime scenes or actual dead corpses in their content as a shock moment. And this comment makes me question just how commonplace this was, or even still is. I do want to mention though that Linda Ann O'Keefe's murder was originally unsolved and went on to become a 46-year-old cold case. But it was eventually solved in 2019 after DNA evidence allowed authorities to get their man. According to reports, it appears as though a family member of his had sent DNA into a heritage site, which came up with a match for some DNA that was found at the crime scene. James Allen Neal died of COVID a year and a half after he was exposed. As for Battington, he vowed to do more research moving forward, and while some people were skeptical, this incident does seem to be behind him now. So let's put that story behind us and move on to the third one of the episode. But very quick, before we do, please make sure that if you haven't already, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. I make a ton of videos about online controversies and scandals. If this sort of thing entertains you, then please make sure to show your support by liking, subscribing, and getting active down in the comments. If you want to see a part 3 to this series, then let me know who should I cover next. Just make sure not to suggest the next person we're set to discuss. He's one of the most infamous FNAF creators of all time, and one that I've actually spoken about in a previous video. Just like Squimpus in the last video, our next creator was also featured in the Downfallen YouTuber's iceberg. If you've seen it, then you might know that we'll be discussing Mandopony. Now, because I've already told this story before, and because since I made that video there are no new updates, I'm going to play a clip now of what I had to say in the Downfallen YouTuber's iceberg, and I'll get back to you afterwards. So let's play that clip. On the topic of inappropriate actions with minors, next up on the iceberg is Mandopony, who you might know from their song Survive the Night, a Five Nights at Freddy's 2 song that has more than 40 million views on YouTube and 48 million streams on Spotify. If you don't know him through that though, plenty of his other songs saw success. His channel, which almost exclusively posts his music, has a combined total of 300 million views. He built a thriving career on the internet for almost a decade between 2011 and 2020, when after making some uncharacteristic tweets, he would disappear from the internet for several months. During that time, it's alleged that treasure troves of evidence would surface onto the internet that pointed towards Mandopony being a predator. Now, I want to tread very carefully here because there is a shockingly small amount of videos on Mandopony. His case is either very niche, or potentially he's quite active in getting content surrounding it taken down. At least that's what Osiris said in one of the only videos made on the topic.
The amount of evidence posted and the amount of sources it came from was truly staggering, and to be honest, because of both this and because a lot of said evidence has since been deleted, either through the people who originally posted it deleting their accounts, or through Andy reporting it and getting it taken down, a lot of the original evidence has been very poorly archived. Even with the use of the Wayback Machine, there were a lot of loose ends I simply wasn't able to tie together into a cohesive timeline.
I'm going to use Osiris's video as a resource here, and I'll link it down in the description in case you want to check it out in more detail. But long story short, in one instance, he's said to have been messaging a 17-year-old when he was 31 and married, sending naked photographs to her, and even soliciting naked pictures from her. He allegedly sent several cringy messages within their chats, which spanned 6 months, and these were contained within roughly 100 screenshots.
The cuddle cravings are kicking in so hard. Ha 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 ha.
In another instance, he allegedly DM'd a 15-year-old, groomed them, wanted to meet them in person, sent pictures to them, but perhaps the worst crime of all were, yet again, the cringy ass messages that he sent.
You're so gorgeous, and you're in Ravenclaw, and you're into Overwatch. They said the perfect woman doesn't exist. They lied.
Several other people came out of the woodwork in the fallout of this, making their own allegations, many of which with similar stories. In fact, things were so severe that law enforcement would apparently be contacted and they would investigate Mandopony, real name Andy Stein, who came out to deny the allegations, but did admit that he had been too intimate with his fans and that he had let his family down. Mandopony will still sometimes post to YouTube these days, but his videos are disliked to high heaven, the comments on them are turned off, and his songs don't get nearly as many views as they once did. Moving on, it's time for a creator that was infamous in the FNAF community, but outsiders might not be aware of. This is the tale of PinkyPills. The legend of PinkyPills is a very long one, with many different factors and elements. The events of this tale unfolded over roughly 8 years between 2016 and 2024. To give you a quick rundown, and to quote a Reddit mega thread about her, real name Claudia Schroeder, better known by her online alias PinkyPills, started off as a popular fan artist in the community who would post their own comics and standalone art pieces across various platforms such as Reddit and DeviantArt. She's also worked alongside the big man himself, Scott Cawthon. To level with you guys, there is a lot to cover here. Pinky's response statement is 3,500 words long, which is more than the word count for this video. And it's 4 times more than the amount of words said in the Pixar movie WALL-E. For that reason, I'm not going to go into a tremendous amount of detail about the situation, but of course I will give you the footnotes and the highlights of what she had to say, especially given that PinkyPills addressed all of the controversies about her on her own website. So let's kick things off with her DeviantArt controversy. So there have been multiple instances of PinkyPills getting into online arguments with DeviantArt users over her artwork. The main reason for this being that they felt as though her submissions were too sexualized. Pinky disagreed, and also said that she didn't really see FNAF as a franchise that was marketed towards children, so she felt as though sharing these images was fine. Within her response, she apologized, saying that her European mindset didn't really understand the American mindset that had a problem with it. This alleged misunderstanding of what might be deemed as sexual content has plagued PinkyPills throughout her career, as you'll soon find out. Moving on, there was then the Moana controversy. She gives some context about the world she grew up in and Germany, as well as European attitudes towards sex, nudity, and consent. Feel free to pause the video right now if you feel like reading. But then she goes on to say that she started making pinups of Disney princesses, sometimes for payment. The princesses are mostly teenagers in canon, bear in mind. Now, she didn't think that these images were inherently sexual, but others disagreed. In one instance, she drew an image of Moana lying naked on a sandy beach. Except for the beginning of her buttocks, Moana is covered by her pose in the sand, and thus is censored. This post would see her receive a lot of backlash, and in her words, was the reason that she was banned from DeviantArt. Once more, she puts this down to a difference in culture, as in the USA, where most of her critics are from, 18 is generally the lowest age someone can be sexualized. This would also cause her controversy years later, as the internet never forgets. She didn't try to justify it in her response, but rather share her perspective. Then, to a less serious extent, there was the Daydreaming comic. This comic depicts a young girl in the playground, and she falls off the swing set, grazing her knee. William Afton, the bad guy of FNAF, sees this, imagines her asking him to gut her like a lamb, licks his lips, and then makes a move. Now, some people that saw this believed that it was portraying William Afton as a nonce. In PinkyPills' response, she denied that this was the intention and said that she wanted to portray the twisted mind of a child killer. It appears as though, at least at a point in time, PinkyPills did think that Afton was a pedo, but maybe by the time she made the Daydreaming comic, I guess she claims that she no longer thought that. I mean, I could go on for literally hours. There are other controversies that she's been caught up in, such as tracing art or sexualizing Scott Cawthon, the creator of FNAF, but the ones I've mentioned before are more where the anger towards PinkyPills really does lie. And in the same vein as PinkyPills, the next creator that we're set to discuss also had a wide array of controversy. Let's discuss the worst FNAF plush tuber of all time, Puggos Pizzeria. Before we start, I want to clarify that I got a lot of the information for this portion of the video from a content creator known as Battington. He made a fantastic piece of content about it, which I'll link down in the description in case you want to check it out. Now, when it comes to Puggos Pizzeria, there isn't one set controversy that defines him. There's like 9 or 10. So I think the easiest way to do this is to go through them one by one. For starters, he's alleged to have scammed people and bullied others online. And in one case, which for the life of me I cannot explain, he created a manipulated image of a Discord user named Masso saying the N-word. Completely chaotic behavior for no reason. Speaking of which, Puggo has also been caught using the N-word himself on his second channel, Puggos Plush.
Hi man, how y'all doing? I'm ready. Good, I'm ready to get some fish.
We'll talk about this channel at length later, but long story short, he uses it to be edgy, yet openly promotes it on his main channel, meaning that he's undeniably funneling kids into that content, which becomes a huge problem once you see what he actually posts on there. And on the subject of kids, he's also been exposed for taking advantage of them by faking giveaways. Here's a little secret for you guys. Probably like 95% of YouTube giveaways are fake. If a creator ever tells you to like, subscribe, and comment as a way to get into a prize pool, they are lying to you. Creators can't see if someone's liked or shared their content. They can see if someone subscribed to them if their subscriptions are public, and they can see if someone's commented on their work, but they can't DM them through that. YouTube doesn't have a direct messaging system. I mean, maybe if the channel has an email linked or some sort of external social media site such as Instagram or Reddit embedded on their channel page, it's possible. But I think that the far more likely explanation is that Puggo is lying. As Chasington makes note of in his video, Puggo's audience are mainly young kids who don't understand this. He's essentially tricking them to boost his content via engagement. And that's what makes all of this worse. His audience. This man makes FNAF plush videos. The vast majority of his audience are children. So why is he saying the N-word on his second channel? You don't see Stampy ripping on trans people on his second channel. Like, there is a time and a place for edgy content, but you, sir, are a children's entertainer by trade. So for you, it's never and nowhere. And on the topic of edgy race humor, many of the characters featured in these videos are straight up racial stereotypes.
Like we're complete opposites. We're brother from another mother, if you know what I'm saying.
I didn't know you was like that, my brother.
I can be a little tiny like that.
Ah, man,
apparently,
you silly
if you
white
say
boy.
so. Oh yes, and you are black as the night sky, I can see.
What? What the hell you just called me, boy?
And he clearly knows that he's been getting backlash for it, because after he uploaded some sort of deranged Christmas special where Mr. Hippo, dressed as the Grinch, literally essays the other plushes, he got called out on it and took it down. And he then announced that he would no longer include sexual content. My friend, how did this video escape the draft folder? He's also been accused of threatening to blackmail people with their addresses, not paying his editors, and copywriting the Grinch essay video. I don't even want to dive too deep into this specific video. I could spend easily an hour or so dissecting it. I think that it's best kept for another day, but just know that he also faced massive backlash for trying to copyright the re-uploads. And the video itself, for very obvious reasons, is one of the craziest ones I've ever seen. What were you thinking? You would think that would be the end of it, right? Well, not even close. Apparently after he took it down, a few people took it upon themselves to re-upload the video to YouTube, and in response, he allegedly gave them copyright strikes. And as Chasington points out in his original video, the irony here is unreal, because Puggo in the past has constantly pretended to care about copyright abuse, But here, he's abusing it himself. He's copywriting videos that contain FNAF characters while simultaneously also allegedly promoting bootleg merch on his own channel. To me, this comes across as him just trying to silence the critics. If all of the allegations against him are in fact true, then surely he is one of the worst FNAF creators of all time. But if you want to learn of creators that I think might be even worse than him, then make sure to check out part 1 of this video if you haven't already. I think that some of the stories I tell in that one are even more extreme than this one. Click on the screen right now to check it out, you absolute legends. Aside from that, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.